Mr. M.K. Stalin is in a big problem because his popularity is going down. He is adopting a diversionary tactics. It is like take diversion, take diversion, take diversion.
If we just go by population for delimitation, we may lose 8 to 9 seats, which is loss of federal voice in the parliament.
The fact that in 1976, Mrs. Gandhi introduced that what they call, we have to halt this process. She clearly mentioned population is the reason where, it will be unjust to address the southern states.
The entire population curve of India is going to come down because it's not just the southern states, even the northern states are catching up with population control.
Hello, I'm Vijay Srinivas and welcome to a brand new show, The Perspective. In this edition, we are discussing delimitation, but before we get into the conversation, I want to give a quick introduction of what exactly delimitation is. Delimitation is the process of redrawing parliamentary and assembly constituencies to reflect population changes that have happened over the years. Delimitation is directly linked to size. States with larger populations get more representatives in parliament than states with smaller populations. This is now at the center of a major political controversy here in Tamil Nadu, and not just in Tamil Nadu, but across southern India. M.K. Stalin, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, is clearly upping the ante, has called for an all-party meeting on March 5th, saying that this exercise punishes southern states from taking responsible measures to control population growth. Joining me to discuss more on this is Mr. Asirvadam Achari, spokesperson BJP, who joins us from Delhi. So welcome. Ms. Lakshmi Ramachandran, General Secretary, Congress in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Ramu Manivannan, currently a visiting professor at the Joseph Cobbell School of International Studies, University of Denver, and our very own editor-in-chief, Mr. Srinivasan. So thank you very much, people, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to begin with Ms. Lakshmi first. Why are southern states apprehensive about this whole idea of delimitation there?
I think the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and the other Chief Ministers of the southern states, Mr. Siddaramaiah and
Revanth Reddy.
Mr. Revanth Reddy, they have started, they've spoken up at the right time. Because one thing that we must understand is once the delimitation commission is formed and the commission comes up with its recommendations, its decisions, and presents it to the parliament and the assemblies, it cannot be contested in any court of law. It cannot be contested by the political parties or the state government or anybody else. So this is the right time to talk because we don't want to lose for doing the right things, lose for doing population control as as the center promulgated, doing for going in for the goals, our development goals, where we were at it in a disciplined manner. For all that, we don't want to lose. So this is the right time to talk, and Mr. Stalin has done so. We must understand that if we just go by population for delimitation, we may lose 8 to 9 seats. Which is loss of federal voice in the parliament. The MPs who get elected from here are not just the voices of their constituencies, they are the voices of the state in the parliament. So each state makes their MPs speak for their region, their people. So if we if we lose that voice in parliament, if we are dominated by just 4 states, that's what is going to happen. Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Bihar are going to be the only gainers in this whole exercise, and all other states, not just the southern states, the northeastern states are going to lose. Even in North India, the smaller states like Haryana and Punjab are going to lose if we just go by the population. So if the entire parliamentary proceedings are going to be dominated by the MPs of these 4 states, all of us are at loss. So this is the right time to speak. So we cannot go by the current
Understand.
formula.
Okay, let me get a quick reaction from our BJP spokesman there in Delhi. Mr. Achari, what would you respond? The Congress says there are concerns about 4 particular states having a lot of significant dominance there in the parliament. How would you respond?
Vanakkam and namaste to all of you. Ma'am was telling that this is the right time to talk about the delimitation process as a whole. But what we feel is that, especially if we take the case of Tamil Nadu, Mr. M.K. Stalin is in a big problem because his popularity is going down. And whenever there is a problem with his government and whenever his popularity goes down, he is adopting a diversionary tactics. It is like take diversion, take diversion, take diversion. That is what he started all of a sudden to talk about the Hindi implementation, whereas we have never said that we are going to implement Hindi in the national education policy. Then when we gave a clarification, our own education minister at the center gave a clarification that we are not per se pushing Hindi. Then he took another diversion that talking about the delimitation process. But we all know that there is enough time, that 2026 is yet to come, and whenever it is delimitation takes place, it takes place along with the census operation also. So we have not even come to the level of census operation, then only we have to come about the delimitation. That census operation is yet to take place because we had a COVID, so the census operation could not take place in 2021. And we have already given a promise that the next parliament will have a representative from women of our country. So there is a long way to go, but they are in a problem, so they want to divert the attention of the people, putting blame on the central government. Our Home Minister has categorically said, the southern states are not going to lose even a single seat. That is the fact of the matter. But what they are telling, no, we are going to lose. Tamil Nadu is going to lose. Telangana will lose. Kerala will lose. Karnataka will lose. They are all talking in an imaginary world, whereas the fact remains that we are not going to lose any seat, any single seat. Rather, we are going to get more number of seats. So this is the fact of the matter. But as I said in the opening remark, it is a diversionary tactics, nothing else, diversionary tactics.
Sure, I think the Congress person wants to respond, ma'am, please.
No, the question is not about whether our seats are increasing or going to remain the same. The question is by how much, what is going to be the proportional representation of Tamil Nadu or Telangana? Will it remain the same or is it going to increase? See, you can reduce the size of a line. For reducing the size of a line, you don't have to erase a part of it. You can draw a longer line. So if you're going to increase the representation of some states several times, then again we are bound to lose. Sir, another thing is, if you had done the census in 2022-23, we would not be in the situation right now, because the 84th amendment clearly states that for doing the delimitation exercise now, the first census after 2026 should be the basis. But you had all that time, the other countries, they finished the census in 22-23, we couldn't do it in 21, but all over the world, all other countries did it in 22-23. We were the only ones who did not do it. So it is because of your whatever you did not do, we are having to face
so
this.
I'm just going to come to you in just a bit, sir. There's a professor here, so Dr. Rao Manivan wants to add. So please go ahead.
I think that the fundamental question is that to talk about delimitation any time is a good time. It is not necessary that now or I would like to ask, in 2000, early 2002 and then in 2001, Chandrababu Naidu, the TDP, the president of the TDP, was one of the early leaders from the southern part of the country to raise this question with Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government and saying that it is very important issue. It's most likely to result in a big challenge in the future. So now Stalin rising does not place any other issues to the background. There is a continuity to this debate from TDP's president and now to Stalin and to the other states. I think we need to look at it in an appropriate perspective of a pure due representation.
Okay, so Mr. Achari, so the point here is, I mean, the very foundations of delimitation is going to be on population, right? The total fertility rate in southern India is below 1.6, and Tamil Nadu is at 1.4, significantly lower, below the replacement level of 2.0, something similar to the European standards, right? The south has been able to achieve this because of its robust measures in terms of population control. I mean, the southern states, the Chief Minister Stalin is asking you, are we being penalized for doing something that's right? What would you respond?
See, the population is being the basis of our delimitation. It has to be even reiterated once again by the Delimitation Commission whenever it is being, formed by the central government. And it is too premature how they are going to have a calculation, because the previous amendment, which was proposed by our late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, as a professor was talking about the TDP, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, who rose this subject even in 2001, and he has been telling the people now that we have to have more number of children because our the age group is coming down, so we have more, so that we have better representation in the parliament. See, I too per se agree that we should have not less than 3 children. In fact, not even 2. I will go for 3 children in a family. But as and when we have a delimitation process set in, let us have a discussion. That is what the point we are putting across to the people, and making a psychic that we are going to lose seats, we are going to lose our representation in the Lok Sabha is all premature. And when ma'am was talking about how the other states are going to get, we are going to, what marginally they will get more, or Tamil Nadu will get, or southern states will get, they all have to be worked out as and when the process gets set in. So there are so many calculations running across so many newspapers. One channel which I was participating, they said there is going to be increase to 700 seats. Another said that 800 seats. I have a news item published by Indian Express which says it is going to be 707 if 20 lakh ratio. Another report says 942 seats if there are 15 lakh per seat. Another is 1397 when we calculate at the same rate of what we are having at the right now. All these things are all, guessworks only. Whether it is going to be, capping has to be done, like what happened in the last delimitation. Capping was done. 543 in the Lok Sabha, 234 in the Tamil Nadu Assembly. The capping was uniform across the state, across the country, all across the state assemblies, including the UT assemblies of Delhi and Pondicherry. So when we come into that position, when there is a dialogue takes place, that time whether there is going to be a capping or whether there going to be an increase of seats, that will be discussed by both by the center and with the state governments. So what is going to be the number, that number game, that is very important. I agree with the ma'am to the certain extent that voice of southern states have to be raised in the parliament. It has been raised. So Tamil Nadu has given 39 in from Tamil Nadu and 1 from Pondicherry in this parliament. And every time there is any bill has to be placed, there is a voice raised by the Tamil Nadu MPs, both by Tamil Nadu as well as Pondicherry. Cool. But whether they are raising it for the proper, just 1 minute, I'll complete it. Whether they are doing it for politics purpose or with the real concern of Tamil Nadu people, that is a big question mark.
Okay, let me bring my editor-in-chief here. Sir, you've written, solid, a long-form opinion on the population there. So what is your response when it comes to delimitation, being made? And you think it is doing it in a fiscal way is a better idea?
Yeah, what I feel is why not discuss it now? I think these issues should be discussed because southern states are already in a distress. It's not just one issue, there are multiple issues. Like you pointed out, they constantly feel, there is a feeling that the performance is being punished in terms of, like you correctly said, the population control. All the southern states have done well in that, which is a mandate of the center, and then therefore the Finance Commission recommendation is going to come in 2026. The 16th Finance Commission has been formed. they were stressed over that as well, because the thing is really squeezed over how funds are allotted between the center and the states. So they are already waiting for the recommendation. Also there is a bit of a trust deficit. If like Acharya says, look, who's raked up the language issue? See, the language issue came up because the Chief Minister has been writing letters to the centre saying that from the centrally sponsored schemes, please give us our funds which are due to us. And he gets an answer from Dharmendra Pradhan saying that, look, you won't get the funds unless NEP is implemented. The point here is, even the new education policy, it's nowhere mentioned that there would be a, insistence on Hindi in the 3-language policy. It's not there at all actually. So why make such a statement which actually further creates a problem here? So all the southern states are certainly worried about these, and of all these things, what is more important is the political power, which comes out of delimitation. So for them it's a matter of concern. It is raising the, so even if BJP, for argument's sake, if I take Acharya's argument that yeah, they are doing politics and they are unnecessarily raking up this issue, why not just squish it? Why not just say what is it, because I think people at large also would like to know. It's, so democracy is, after all, made up of people. So people would also like to know what is the route the government is going to take. I mean, what is the big secrecy about this? See, so we all of us know that when 84th amendment took place, that there is a freeze on the number of seats till the census happens in 2026. All of us know this. So there is a lot of period there. So why not make use of this opportunity to discuss this issue, and that will be my contention.
That's right. Okay, I want to take it to the professor now. If the seat distribution is kept unchanged across states, as it has been over the last 50 years, right? It's going to sort of exacerbate the skewed representation of Indian states in the parliament there. So, we currently have about 543 seats for about a country of 1.4 billion people, and the population is going to exceed further. And the new parliament will have 888 in the Lok Sabha chambers and 552 in the Rajya Sabha. Some even argue that this is not enough. How would you respond?
I fundamentally think that we are hugely underrepresented in terms of the population and the number of members representing the constituencies in the country, say 543 for the population size of this nation. And but there are many factors to take into, like for instance about now we are talking about after 1971 and to the 2001 subsequently, what should be the size of the constituency. This is one concern. To set this constituency size to 30 lakhs or 20 or 15, it's still a challenge in that. And then we would still be underrepresented. But the idea is that the population, how we are going to distribute this to the entire nation, and this is the second factor. When you are measuring this population as a criteria, but the same population where there's become a question mark for the southern states. So that's where the entire debate is focused. But on the other hand, the debate should also be focused on what is the proper representation with the population versus the number of representatives. That first is underrepresented. This is where the northern states feel that the argument by the northern states is that for the last 30 years we have constituencies that are about 30 lakhs and plus, but we still have one representative. So you have to look into that in a democratic spirit. But the leaders, the political leaders, they failed us. The political parties failed us, not holding the census in the right time, and exhibiting the underpreparedness of the political system. And political system, I mean that the parties in power actually. When Mrs. Gandhi's rule in 42nd Amendment was brought about in 2001, why did they say that in 2001 to the next 25 years? And for the 50 years, the entire political party that they voted unanimously. And now you're taking the entire nation, undermining the democratic process in this country. And it's not just one party A and party B. All political parties voted this way. This it's virtually making people disempowering the masses. This is an important factor. Now all this politicization of the north and south is that I see the point, like, when the northern states say that, like, we are underrepresented, but we also have a point in saying that, the criteria that you said, the fact that in 1976 Mrs. Gandhi introduced that what they call, like, we have to halt this process, review and go for a fresh assessment, where when she altered, she clearly mentioned population is the reason, where, like, it will be unjust to address the southern states for because of they have followed the population control program. But why the present system and the present state and the political parties are still maintaining that the same factor, the population, as a criteria?
That's right.
I mean, 1976 she mentioned very clearly why she is postponing this to the until 2001 is because of the population. What is the criteria changed in 2001 that, like, and that means about, like, there's an imbalance. But now the present government says population is a pro rata, as a pro rata consideration. But what the southern states and what we feel from the south is that the criterion that you set should be more inclusive, and if necessary we need a constitutional amendment.
That's right. Mr. Acharya, what would you respond to this?
Yeah, I would like to respond to Professor. I humbly and respectfully disagree with him. The population vis-a-vis population, what do you call the density of the population. There are two things in that. You know, in the northern part of the country, you take the case of Uttar Pradesh, where 13 lakh people are being represented by one single Lok Sabha member. You go to the northeastern part of the country, where 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, that is the maximum represented by a single member of parliament. So the population density, population, these two things are, contradictory to each other. See, there are some, opinion from the northern part of the country. They say, per se, in southern part of India, where you have 18% of the population, but they are represented by 25% of the Lok Sabha members. That means you have 132 seats from southern part of India. So, whereas in northern part of India, we are underrepresented. So, that is where there is a conflict between the northern part and the southern part, especially Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. So, their point of view, the DMK and the other the parties affiliated with the DMK, they are all raising this issue without understanding the basic structure of our country. So the population density, these two things will be completely, contradicted to each other.
You got it, sir. The professor wants to respond to you. 1 second.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just one second.
Yeah, sure.
I'll read it out. Article 81, bracket 3, where in this article the expression population means the population as ascertained at the last preceding census, of which the relevant figures have been published. Now, coming to the point that we did not have the census, as Madam was raising, many countries have done, but we did not have, because we are going to refine the census process itself. We are going to have a digital census, first time in the country. The earlier time which our teachers used to carry large volume of papers, taking their pen and go and meet each and every person in that family household and noting down, and each teacher will be spending half an hour for 45 minutes in school, these in the households. That is all going to be changed, all at a good stage. Now what we are going to have, everything will be digitized. We are going to have a census which will be completely digitized, and within a short span of time, the entire census process is going to be over.
Professor,
the Ministry of Home Affairs is going to work out on that. That is why it is getting time. So let us not, jump the guns. And the one more thing is, all jackets not fit all sizes. That is the main thing. So north-south divide maybe for political purpose, but for the central government, each and every state is equally good in the eyes of the government of India.
Sure. Right, point taken, sir. So, Professor, please.
No, I totally respect the sentiments of the northern states, and including what Acharya ji mentions about, like, the what they think about, like, the ratio, but let me clarify this ratio of 18% of population having 23% ratio is that, sir, I would like you to look at the population rate in 1971. And in 1971, the population of Tamil Nadu was marginally higher than the population of Bihar. You can verify that. Then the population of Madhya Pradesh was at that time, today Bihar's population is 1.5 times more than the population of Tamil Nadu. Now, would you justify that, like, the number you are rewarding the state of Bihar for not following or not having been successful in implementing what they call the human development programs and the population and the healthcare issues. On the other hand, the state like Tamil Nadu, like, now you say we became 18% because we followed the government of India's the program and the guidelines about the population question, and we did not become popular like what today as 18% and 23%. This is where we want to revisit the question of this representation, and like, why this population is a criteria, how we have disempowered ourselves by following the measures of the government. Now, the another question is that states like Madhya Pradesh, states like Kerala, states like, even at that point, now the population increase in some of the states is more than 100%. And like, see now, like, you are going on rewarding this, and instead of, I am not saying that population control should be enforced in a undemocratic way or in a ruthless manner. I am not at all in such advocacy, but what I am questioning is that, like, how are you going to bring a equilibrium, level playing ground between the north and south over this question which is under dispute. The second factor is that you mentioned about the northeastern states, like the density, the demographic issues. Like, we also have concerns. The northeastern states have no voice. The southern states are talking about this thing. Northeastern states are unable to raise their voice. The reason is that, like, not only in the Lok Sabha, but also in the Rajya Sabha, like, I will give you one reason, sir. In Rajya Sabha also, like, what kind of representation exists for the northeastern states. And like, even there also it's inadequate. On the other hand, why we say that, we need a constitutional amendment, we need to review this entire question is that we also have to look at this way that Rajya Sabha is represented. For example, I'm giving you an example, situation in other countries like in the United States. They brought about the Senate, where all the states, small or big or even the smallest unit of the country, all had 2 persons representing in the Senate. On the other hand, in the House of Representatives, you have the population as a criteria. That's but right. Where we don't have that in this country. So you are kind of like, in the Rajya Sabha, you cannot have a kind of an equality. I'm not saying equality as a kind of like, very fixed notion. But the relative question is also like, you cannot empower them in the Rajya Sabha, you cannot have them the voice in the Lok Sabha, then you have the population as a question. Northeastern states, including West Bengal, including Orissa and in Punjab. And so this is not just the north-south we are talking about, we are talking, south is raising this question and south is voicing.
That's right, point taken. So I want to take it to Srinivasan sir next. Sir, Article 82 of the Constitution of India mandates the allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha be readjusted after each census, right? I mean, so we missed the 2021 census. I presume that the census will happen first and then the delimitation, but there seems to be a lot of focus on delimitation more than the census itself. So what do you think there is a delay here? Is a delay a natural delay?
Yeah, exactly. So again, instead of allowing space for speculation, I think the government could as well say that 2026, when the census is going to happen, they can start working on it. Like Acharya says, some work has already begun. I think more transparency always helps, so they can come out with the timetable, this is how we are doing. But then I think the time is now also, if Acharya could, since he's he's erudite and we have Lakshmi, let's now start talking about also the, how to sort out this problem, because you may say that okay, DMK is raising it as a political issue, but then we all know that it's an issue, it's a real issue staring at all of us. So why don't we start discussing what could be the possible solutions? For instance, like Professor Manivannan correctly said that there are various ways in other countries are done. Like for instance, the US has something called method of equal proportion, they have managed to do it over the period of time, freezing the population at the, see the number of seats are the same, kept the population, and then the number of seats are increased on the base of population in a manner that it has not resulted in any great, differentiation between the state. It's not as if one state has gained. For instance, I think there are only one state, I think Texas, which got about 7, all others are just 1 or 2. There is other, European model is slightly difficult for us because it follows what is called digressive proportionality. But then there is another proposal that why don't we maybe freeze for some more time and let the population stabilize, because if you look at long term, the entire population curve of India is going to come down, because it's not just the southern states, even the northern states are catching up with population control. Many of them are improving. Even a state like Uttar Pradesh, if you look at the women literacy, literacy is a very important factor. The literacy is improving there as compared to say last 3 or 4 decades. So it is also directly related to population. So that is improving. So why not, another solution could be that, why not allow some more space for that. And then there is another great opportunity, decentralization. Prime Minister Narendra Modi really believes in decentralization. It's a great opportunity to give more, empower states more, let their number increase. After all, Modi ji was a CM in Gujarat. The federal issues are very important to his heart. So the federal issues, there will be more empowerment of the states, and then they can further transmit down to the lower levels of governance. So all these possibilities are bright possibilities. So why not, they look pretty exciting. Why not discuss all this and think about these issues?
That's right. Mr. Acharya, would you like to respond to this?
Yeah, first I would like to respond to Professor Manivannan. He was giving some data about Bihar versus Tamil Nadu. I would like to make a small correction into that. The 1971 population of Bihar was 4 crore 21 lakhs 26,236, and Tamil Nadu was marginally just 10 lakhs less than Bihar. That was 4 crore 11 lakhs 99,168. So, but at the same time, when we projected the 2025 population, I agree with Professor Manivannan. The projection of Tamil Nadu is 7 crore 73 lakhs, whereas Bihar is 17 crore 8 lakhs 90,000. So, yes, in that way, Bihar is having 10 crore more population than Tamil Nadu. At the same time, I agree with Srinivasan sir. The northern part of India, especially UP and Bihar, they are taking the population control very seriously. There was a time that every household in UP, I studied in Uttar Pradesh, so I know how the UP psyche I know, and I'm also teaching in a university in Uttar Pradesh. The population per family, the number of children, once upon a time there were 6, 5. Now they have started reducing. So now they have 2 or 3, and the education also has gone deep into the village level. So UP and Bihar, they understand their population has to come down. They have to take the population control, the measures of the central government very seriously. So the state governments have also taken measures to bring down the population. But right now, when we talk, yes, I agree. There is a wide gap between southern states and the northern states. But over the time, when we talk about the next delimitation, you will also understand 1951, 61, 17, we had series of delimitation process every 10 years. But everything came to a standstill in 1976, and the capping was done in 1976. So the 543 figure was the 1976 figure. Tamil Nadu figure of 39 plus Puducherry 1, that was 1976, which has not gone up. So who is responsible? See, when they talk about politics, we can also talk politics from the BJP perspective, but we don't do politics on this major issue because every voice of the country has to be represented by a representative elected by the people of the country. So we take it very seriously. But I agree with Srinivasan sir. This is a high time that we have to do a holistic, approach. How to do a balancing act between the northern part, southern part, even the northeastern part also. So every part of the country has to be properly represented. What is going to be the formula? See, when we see Rajya Sabha, when we see the president election, for example, a president election, we have a formula. The formula given in the Constitution of India. Every vote, every MLA who is going to vote for the President of India, his vote value has been given in the Constitution of India by a fixed formula. So such a formula has to be enacted. Otherwise, this going to be talked even after 30 years. It is going to be a never-ending fight between the North and the South. So some formula, maybe the professors, professor like Manivan and Srinivasan sir, even madam. So we all the parties have to join together and make such a formula which will be a time-tested formula and accepted by all the countrymen, so that their voice is represented in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha.
So, okay, let me ask Miss Lakshmi here, ma'am. What do you think is a practical solution for this delimitation war?
I just want to point out to one thing, that after 71 there was another opportunity where they could have corrected, if they wanted to. 2002 there was another delimitation exercise when BJP was in power. Now coming to your question, see, several things are being discussed. One thing that I heard from one other person, another person who had done his research in the US, he suggested that the representatives for state assemblies can be done on population basis. Whatever increase in population that has happened since 2002, that can be accommodated in the state assemblies, whereas the distribution of seats in the parliament can remain the same, or maybe increase it, but keep the proportion the same, is one suggestion that came up. And I don't know, I mean, again it is for the delimitation commission to sit with all these ideas and decide. But if the state assemblies are going to look different, then what is our Rajya Sabha going to look like is another question that we have to ask. So I think we need it needs more detailed study, and we have to hear everybody's ideas, and that is the reason we want a public discourse.
That's right.
I don't know why the government is hesitating to talk about it. There is no point. I mean, the Home Minister came and he just had one line to talk say in that whole speech. He said it will not go down pro rata. I mean, pro rata of what? So I think it is time to, the government in fact should start this discussion and hear from everyone.
Professor, as a final round of thoughts?
I think I would rather follow this and say we need a transparency, because this is a national concern, and not only for the south but also for the other parts of the country, including the north actually, and looking at both sides of the claims actually. We need transparency, then the government should be more open, and then should follow the timeline, because all this is we are in a position today because we have postponed the crisis, and we have kept postponing. Then now we are today the 26th, the 26th is why are we talking about in 2025, and I still wonder when do we start talking about it. So it's time to talk about it, and time to see look at various options. My concern is that we need a constitutional review.
Before you wrap, Srinivasan sir, would like to add something to
Yeah, so if you this is slightly a political issue, but a very important one. The leader of Congress party, Rahul Gandhi has been constantly saying about caste census. He's been raising one aspect of the issue. So the many states are doing their own surveys, and it is further causing confusion. Karnataka had its own survey. BJP is saying, why don't you open it up? Bihar had its own survey. What kind of whether whether that's not census, because census can only be done by the center. These are surveys, and surveys if you look at Telangana, there was a survey done, the survey withdrawn, then another survey came. A lot of confusion. So again, if a clear timeline is announced, as Professor is saying, and I mean that's also an important issue on the basis of which this entire thing rests, because after all the delimitation doesn't end with only parliamentary and assembly seats. It's also what is the proportion scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, which are an important part of the, how much a proportion they are going to get. That's a very important question which is going to come. And then the women, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the women voters are most turned out to be the one of the biggest discoveries now in the last few elections. So their proportions also need to be.
Now we have also put the women's bill under this whole, wrapped it under this thing. That's another.
So there are many things tied to this, and therefore this issue becomes extremely important. That's why I feel it.
We have got 2 minutes. Mr. Acharya would like to respond before we wrap this up.
Yeah, actually, the public discourse ma'am was talking about, it has already started from the southern part of the country. Let it go ahead, because we have never, stopped anybody raising the voice. Even if there are times when people have criticized Mr. Narendra Modi very badly, but Mr. Narendra Modi has come forward, listened to them, and then found a consensus solution. And the ma'am was talking about 2002. Ma'am, it was 2001. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee made a cap of the what exactly is happening and pushed it to the 25 years period. And the voice again was raised from the southern part of Tamil Nadu, and you must be knowing the DMK was in the forefront, and they raised it both in the parliament and outside the parliament. And in fact, it was the time that when Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was about to go forward, and he listened to the people and he said, okay, I am going to file a constitutional amendment and putting a cap once again. And
all right, sir.
As I said, just only one point I will, raise the discourse which has started, it is from our point of view, it is premature. That is what I want to make it. We have enough time. We have time another 2 years. So let us not, make a politics out of it, and let us listen to the people's voice and find the amicable solution.
Thank you very much, sir. That's a wrap of this edition of The Perspective. Thank you very much for watching.